Ken and Luis from NuLiv, people we work with all the time.
Yes.
Welcome. Good morning. It's morning. I know your bios. You know my bio, but let's do an introductory. We had you on, what, 3 years ago?
Yeah,
Ken?
I think I kicked off the podcast for you guys. That was
Did you
episode
really?
1.
It's awesome. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Where are you now?
Same place, still at NuLiv, still growing worldwide. We don't stop. I mean, that's something Louis and I talk about. Like, I think as our careers keep expanding, it's easier for someone to be like, oh, you're the AstraGin guy. You know, you're the Xylaria guy. So for us, it's like, all right, if we don't move, people just kind of start coming and gravitating to us.
You've been there about 11 years now?
Yeah, this since 2012.
What's your when you first came on versus now? Has your title changed? Or
Yeah. So when I first came on, I was hired on. I found the job on Craigslist, and I was trying to sell medical equipment.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh man, this seems kind of in the same line, and so I went into that, and I emailed Richard, and I was like, oh, I want to work for you guys. He goes, you do? And they had already hired 2 sales reps. So I was just the 3rd sales rep. Then they left. They became sales manager and senior sales director, and then became VP of sales. And now Louis and I handle everything.
VP of sales now. 3 years later.
No, not 3 years later. From the
last
podcast.
time, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's awesome. And Louis, please.
Yes.
Super interested. Comes from an influencer background.
Yes.
I will let you lead.
I think I was kind of before influencer was kind of a word, really. It was more of like the affiliates. Because we didn't really
Ambassador.
it was
ambassador.
more ambassador, yeah. It's kind of
Back was that on Instagram?
Yeah, 2014.
Holy.
Yeah, when it first, every single brand had multiple ambassadors.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how Ken found me is, I think you kind of reached out to me because you saw probably one of my gym posts.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to always post supplements, and I tried probably 10 different brands before NuLiv and was ambassadors. But he just sent me like a big box of samples and really fell in love with one of our ingredients, the Synactive, which was now, which used to be the AstraGin. And I just kept asking him for more and more samples, and we grew a friendship, and I basically reached out to him one day. I was like, hey, I want a job, see if Richard will give me a job. And I kind of did like
Put
a
you
trial.
to the test,
Yeah,
huh?
like a trial period for probably like, what, 12 months? Made like maybe $200-$300 a month. And he basically gave me an email address. He said, here's all the research, send out some emails. He sent me some templates, and just kind of had to prove that I can sell.
And you did.
And eventually I did.
And it brought 2
Super
coasts
proof.
together too. I mean, just thinking like social media in 2014 was not what it is now.
Right.
And you're in Pennsylvania.
I was in Pennsylvania then, yeah.
And you're in LA, West LA.
Yep.
And this is so cool.
What's funny is we talk every day, but I think it had been 6 years before we had even met.
Oh, geez.
In person.
Yep.
But we talk every day.
And you were getting clients?
I think it took me 9 months to get my first client.
Holy.
Yeah. It just, especially back then, like nobody knew who NuLiv Science was. I had to say AstraGin, otherwise they wouldn't even listen to me.
Oh.
Because I could say NuLiv and they're like, who's that? I'm like, well, we developed AstraGin. Like, oh, you're the AstraGin guy. Okay.
And you both are the AstraGin guys.
Yeah. So it was tough. It was tough back then, and I'm trying to figure out, because I don't come from a background where I look at research studies and stuff. So he'd basically help me with templates. And I'm basically going on Instagram trying to find random brands that we don't work with yet. And I'm sending them DM messages, or I'm trying to find their email address and spam their website until somebody answers me.
So your understanding of the science compared to 2014 and now is probably
It's at a much higher level, I get everything, but back then it was just kind of like I want a pre-workout, I want a protein powder because I know they're going to help me build muscle because I used to play sports in school, so. But yeah, the knowledge base has grown a lot.
That's awesome.
And you were personal training, so you were recommending stuff to clients. So you were obviously trying to search for the best bang for your buck too.
Yeah.
As recommending to his own clients.
Yeah, I used to do like the personal training, like the director of sales for personal training and like the LA Fitnesses. So I'd recommend, they had like a little supplement shop, so I'd pick out like a stack for people and kind of explain, if you take this product, this is what it's going to do.
Like dietitians do, when people come like, and this supplement will help you. Yeah,
but very surface level knowledge, basically what I can find on Google or what I read on Instagram or.
But I think that's going to segue into like my next topic is the science that you guys have. And I'm going to let you elaborate, but again, I love your parent company. I love how you derive the science. This is why I love working with you guys, is because the studies are there. Right now in the market, the trademarks are saturated. Everyone has a trademark.
Yes. Yeah, we have a internal saying that everyone could have it now. Is we say branded is borrowed. Most people just borrow some research, brand it, and say, "Hey, I have my own IP."
Yeah,
and that's not. We could do that all day long, man. We could
throw money at it.
I think we're more creative than anyone else in our space, in the raw space. So we could create anything, but it's just a branded ingredient, you know?
Right. Yeah, we make this today. We throw a trademark on it.
Exactly.
But you guys, you look at the science. It starts. And I want you guys to elaborate, because I'm going to mess this up.
Sure.
But where it comes from in that parent company, and then how it goes into AstraGin and Astrion and InnoSlim and etc.
Yeah.
Sure. So the stem cell company has I think they have a Chinese government funding. And then Taiwanese government funding too, and just basically stem cell research, trying to do some cancer research. And obviously there's stuff that's, there's no way it's going to cure cancer, so it's very surface level. And that's kind of the things NuLiv Biomedics started focusing on. So and then we started doing research first just on cordyceps mushroom, seeing how it was increasing lung support, increasing endurance. And that led us to looking at what is the active in cordyceps, and cordyceps is adenosine, the cordyceptic acid. So trying to standardize to that, where maybe at the time people were just doing ratios. It's a 10-to-1 ratio for the kilo, so we're just standardizing. I think till this day we standardized to 10% cordyceptic acid. Then we led to that put us in a space of having the branded ingredient. It's a branded cordyceps, but what would separate us if we had our own research? So when you look at something like AstraGin, InnoSlim, even Astrion, someone might say, all they're doing is changing up the ginseng and calling it different names, right? It's almost like, hey, we're here in Southern California. It's almost like we have cannabis for CBD, THC, CBN, and so there's different cannabinoids that work differently for the body. So what we found is that there's different astragalosides, different ginsenosides, and if you mix those differently, you get a different effect on the body. So all of our ingredients are literally numbers, like NuLiv Science 001, NuLiv Science 002, and they're just fractions that our researchers keep mixing the fractions to see, whoa, there's a health benefit. Then we study the health benefit in a petri dish, and then we move to an animal study, and then finally a human study. But what we found was maybe it's just the way we were, that we're like, oh, we don't need, not that we didn't need human data, but we went to market with in vitro and in vivo data.
Okay.
And that's how we hit the market. Now that the company's finally having the resources we need, we can start diving into more human data, because it takes a lot longer, it ties up a lot more of our money, but now we're in a better position
financially to be able to do it. And that makes so much sense. I used to work in I used to formulate in cannabis, terpenes, cannabinoids, etc.
Exactly.
And I think all these plant compounds, whether it's AstraGin, I mean, whatever plant compounds you're looking at, even the slightest change in ratio is going to have a different effect or no effect, right? And also too, I think one thing people don't talk about enough is it's not just about, if you're talking about cannabinoids, your endocannabinoid system might not be receptive to, let's say something improves cardiovascular health. It might not do that for somebody else, depending on your stress levels, depending on your mental state, depending on, we are all our own ecosystem.
Yes.
So I love the fact that you guys are going into human studies. I think that's genius. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, so I think we just published our third human study on AstraGin, which I would think the bulk of maybe 80% of the success of AstraGin has been before our clinicals. So that's why now we're like, all right, now we could really fly and go into different marketplaces.
Yeah. I'm not going to go off topic. I'm going to stick to the topic here, but I do. It just brings me to talking about the quality of ingredients.
Yeah.
Right? Can you guys speak to the quality of your ingredients, so that what I really want to do and advocate for is people watching this show are potential clients. And what happens majority of the time is, yes, looking at what's trending in the market, which we'll get to, is super important, but people will be ready to launch a wellness brand, but they don't have a formulation.
Right.
So what we can advocate to right now is, one, the quality of your ingredients. And if we talk about AstraGin, Astrion, and InnoSlim, what type of products those apply to, so that when they come and they don't have a formulation, but they have a goal and a healing purpose, they've heard of AstraGin and they know where they can apply it, etc.
Right. Yeah, I think when it comes to the quality of our ingredients, you can really kind of look at the studies first and kind of see, when you're looking at a trademarked ingredient, there's a lot of reasons why you'd want to use an ingredient like that, not only just for the safety, but for the clinical data as well. But we take a lot of pride in developing these ingredients basically from the ground up, from the plants itself, and creating a lot of research to really add a lot to those products.
Or the culture method. I mean, someone could be saying, let's just say something really popular like ashwagandha. You go, hey, Marlo, we're going to come to you. Right now we're going to debut a brand new ashwagandha, but we bought it from Jai Herb, you know, and now we're going to rebrand it. But what we do, let's say with our xylaria, no one else can grow that. We grow the culture method. You know, we grow the bacteria inside the beer vats. And as a matter of fact, we can only grow it in the winter. We can't grow it in the summer because it's just too hot to cool down the building at the right temperature for xylaria. It's super, super costly. Yeah. So we tell our clients before, like, we're going to be shutting down xylaria production for summer. Like, please let us know what you need, so we'll do it right before or right after summer.
So when they're coming and they're looking for a product from NuLiv, they know where it's grown. Mm-hmm. It's coming from one place. You guys know when you grow it. It's not, again, like you said, ashwagandha is everywhere. Right. It's not getting it from 2 different sources throughout the year. You know, different pallets come in from different companies just because they want ashwagandha in their product. This is grown by you guys. Yeah. Mm-hmm. The science is done by you guys.
Yes.
And if a consumer looks at that product that has, AstraGin, Astrion in it, they can go right back and know where it came from, and you guys can show them where it's grown. And I think
exactly. And then when we focus in on our product, we can talk about our product much more than the brand will. And like you said, maybe it's a new influencer, it's someone that's famous now, and it says, I just want to leverage my marketing capability, and I want to put out a product. That's so they'll come to Leaf and say, help me put something together. And then they might have seen our ingredients in another popular product and say, well, I want to use that because obviously they have it, which is fine for us because I don't think the space is always going to come from the scientists anymore. Sometimes it is the influential person, the marketing person that could come and say, hey, I could get a lot of shoppers, like you guys have a huge influencer doing a new line for you guys. That's super awesome to us because for us, we always feel that our job is to try to get the industry as mainstream as possible because we've been in the industry now where it was fringe, it was taboo, it was like, oh man, you take those steroids, I go, it's just protein powder or creatine,
Right.
Or it was just powder.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it was. Like, are you sure that's that?
Yeah.
But I want to segue into market trends with, now we know where it's coming from. Now we know the quality. We know that you guys have the science behind it. I think one thing Leaf really prides itself on is being able to watch those trends and really grow with them and even urge them a little bit. Mm-hmm. And one thing or a few things that we're seeing in 2023, women's wellness.
Yeah.
Huge. And we were even talking about, into international markets, women's wellness is huge. And I spoke about in the United States, and this is going to be redundant, I've said this in other podcasts, but over 80% of consumer spending is done by women, and just in the United States.
Yes.
So women's wellness is huge. What would be your favorite to apply into that space of any of your trademarks that we can advocate for, that someone could call us and be like, Leif, I heard about?
You do one, I'll do one.
Yeah, I think it's kind of cool that the women's market is getting a little bit more popular in the US because we've been visiting our UK team for probably the past 3-4 years now, and that's been on the forefront of their focus ever since we started working with them, and now it's just kind of catching up in the US. So that's pretty cool. But I think when it comes to our ingredients in particular, I'd probably have to look at Astrion and InnoSlim. InnoSlim's a really great ingredient for anybody who's just looking to stay lean, not necessarily losing weight, but just kind of having a more healthy metabolic function and kind of just achieving that leaner, healthier lifestyle.
I think postpartum, that could be included in post. I do a lot of prenatal, postpartum products, and I think postpartum, as much as I'm an advocate for body positivity and accepting yourself at all phases in life, it is something that women think about. I'm a mom. Yeah. I know it. Can you talk to the science behind how InnoSlim works?
Yeah, so I love InnoSlim, but Ken's lost actually 70, 80 pounds personally on InnoSlim. So I think if anybody's going to speak to how it works and the benefits, he's going to be the best
InnoSlim is
one.
really good because this industry is really funny because you could be an influencer and your job is to influence, and then there's the rest of us that have jobs within this industry, right? And it's like, yeah, I'm trying to be healthy. Obviously, fitness is in the forefront of my mind because I'm in this industry, but you got life. Like this week, he's like, damn, dude, you haven't stopped. Like, I go, no, from 6 a.m. to like 10 p.m. It's like, dude, we're busy all the time. So what InnoSlim does, it's really, really interesting because it starts with, you take it, works in the intestines, but lowers sodium glucose transporter gene 4, which is that's what brings in the glucose, carbohydrates, and sugars into your body. So we slow down the absorption rate of that.
It transports glucose through the intestinal membrane.
Right. So we slow down the transportation of that, and then we drive it directly into fat cells and into muscle cells. So to muscle cells with InnoSlim, you're just going to get a little bit leaner muscle, but when you drive the glucose into the fat cell, that's when the magic happens. Okay. Because for most people, when they're overweight, you would think, man, you're eating a lot. But you're actually not. Your body isn't taking anything in, especially something with like carbs and sugars. Let's say this is your fat cell taking in the glucose. We've shocked the fat cells so much that we kind of rub the insulin receptors almost raw, and that's like pre-diabetes. So then when we have what InnoSlim does, it lowers the inflammation of the fat cell to make the insulin receptors come out more, grab the glucose and drive it into the fat cell, then convert it into AMPK, which is energy, and then convert it into adiponectin. If you took, right now we went to the Rams stadium and took a NFL player, draw his blood, you're gonna see his adiponectin level super, super high. But if you take someone that's obese, you draw their blood, their adiponectin levels are gonna be tiny, maybe even dormant. So that's where the magic is by driving the glucose into the fat cell, you convert AMPK, and that turns on adiponectin. And that's basically like a fat burning hormone.
It sounds like it's increasing mitochondrial production.
Yeah, all of our ingredients do that.
So what is it derived from?
InnoSlim? From plant extract ginseng and astragalus. Okay. So if you looked at the COA of AstraGin and InnoSlim, you're like, dude, you're selling me the same shit, just different names. It's like, no, that's what we're saying. Yeah. It's different. It's different ratios and different saponins inside the plant. So if it's like, hey man, I didn't get a head high from smoking this. Oh, it's just CBD. You know, if you want that, maybe you need to just get a THC pen, something like that. So our ingredients are specified into that. Luis mentioned Astrion and InnoSlim. We always say, man, if someone would just combine those two, we call it skinny and skin. Like it's all, that's like what every shopper would want. Oh, I'm focused on my skin and on being skinny, and just call it skinny and skin. Astrion or InnoSlim.
I don't think we're allowed to use skinny anymore.
But to further push InnoSlim's drive, InnoSlim's getting really, really popular. But today, you talked about trademarking. If you went right now, try to trademark an ingredient to have the word slim, skinny, weight loss, you can't. InnoSlim we made in 2009. It's one of the only ingredients that has slim in the name. So for a brand new brand that just wants to put product out there, I mean, the ingredient itself is called slim.
It's like the one called. You distracted me. You said THC and Rams, and then I'm like, oh wait, skinny. What's going on here? So that's where you can apply InnoSlim, but you did talk about Astrion.
Yeah, Astrion.
Let's talk about skin on that. Yeah, I think that's another women's.
Exactly. So again, if you looked at the COA of Astrion, you're like, you're on astragalus again? And I go, yeah, it has a lot of applications. So now we're talking about skin cells. So Astrion, it's a pretty simple function. It just stimulates your skin to absorb more proline and glucosamine. And the benefit of having more proline and glucosamine is synthesizing more hyaluronic acid and more collagen. So instead of taking an external collagen, which most women's product is, hey, take a collagen, it's all right, take that collagen, but if you add Astrion to it, you're going to synthesize your own collagen and your own hyaluronic acid.
So you're supporting it in multiple ways.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
There's actually a few different products that do that, where it's internal production, and you pair it with that collagen.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. We're gonna sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, and that's one of the ingredients that we've done human clinical on as well. And it was pretty brief, but the results were really strong. I think the study was only 28 days long, but the wrinkle reduction was over 15%. There was an increase in melanin, like 17%. So the results were really strong, and we're going to be having a new human clinical on Astrion as well for a beauty from within application. This was, especially in the sports nutrition, our clients are doing a lot of beauty from within our encapsulated products as opposed to the topicals. So we actually have another human clinical slated to start this year for that application as well.
And just, I can't mention the brand name, but a very large brand of ours uses Astrion, and I just keep recommending it. Formulations.
I mean, it's a really great ingredient, and it's perfect for especially like a collagen type product, which collagen is continuously growing every single year. It's going to help with that collagen absorption and synthesis. So it's like a really great pairing for any product like that.
Any health, wellness, beauty product, women's wellness. Yeah, definitely. So we've talked about InnoSlim. We've talked about Astrion. We talked about AstraGin like this whole time. Right?
Yeah.
I feel like.
Yeah.
Is there anything specific we haven't covered on AstraGin that could? I mean, I've got. You know what? We were talking about women's health, but I also want to talk about gut health.
Yeah.
I mean, it's everywhere, all the time. I'm doing formulations with probiotics. Is there anything you have that we compare with a probiotic formulation or a gut health formulation that you want to?
Yeah, with probiotics, it would work really well. We have a few ongoing studies with probiotics, and then we've even tried to develop a new probiotic with an Italian company that develops their own strains, but it just hasn't panned out. But that's a huge market for us, and I think AstraGin has been pigeonholed into absorption.
Yes.
Which is good. What we see is that AstraGin is solving two things. For the consumer, it's solving the absorption problem, where maybe it's January 2nd and you're like, no, this is my year and I'm going to take everything. I got my multivitamin, my colon cleanser, protein shake, collagen, everything, right? And so AstraGin's like, all right, well, I'm going to make sure that gets delivered to you. How would you like if you ordered all this stuff on Amazon's Prime Day and then the post office didn't drop it off? You'd be like, what the? That's what AstraGin is. It's going to deliver the entire formula. But on the other hand, what AstraGin also does, it repairs the intestinal wall. And then for the product itself, now you're the consumer, but on at this table, we also create products, right? For the product, it's creating a new section for the product. If you know, more of our bigger clients have absorption matrix or absorption enhancement.
Yes.
And now AstraGin has almost created a new category within the panel.
So that we're clear on, AstraGin increases absorption, and is it InnoSlim that decreases absorption? Hypothetically?
Hypothetically, yes.
Okay.
So what AstraGin does, it by repairing the intestinal wall, you're increasing the amount of transporter genes that take the nutrients from the stomach through the intestinal wall, carries it to the bloodstream and to the rest of the muscles, right? The rest of our body. InnoSlim is specifically working on that sodium glucose transporter gene, turning that down so you're not absorbing as much glucose.
Now, when you say it repairs the intestinal wall, but metabolically speaking, do you know how it's doing that, how that functions? Just because I think when I think of a lot of specific conditions, people with autoimmunes can't take certain supplements, right? Because the permeability of the intestinal wall, it could cause them pain, flush, etc.
Wasn't it on colitis?
The colitis rats?
That was on rats, right? Yeah. The most recent one was on IBD.
It was on
IBD, IBS.
The pilot. Yeah, that was on IBD patients.
And what was your outcome?
It increased the health population of the bacteria in the stomach. So essentially, that was like the biggest finding. They looked at, I think, like 12 different types of healthy bacteria in the gut, and the populations increased pretty dramatically. It was well over 100%.
Yeah, I got to see how they measure, but the intestinal lumen, like they look like fingers, like that was repaired. I got to see how we measure the repair amount.
Music to my ears.
Yeah.
I mean, especially because I worked with very specific conditions. I think that I would love to highlight that.
Yeah, the one mess that we had was that some clients go, okay, but you did this on a diseased population. And we're like, yeah, we're treating, but they're like, but all our clients are healthy young adults.
Well, okay.
But the third,
Supposedly
But if
healthy young
they're
adults.
American adults, the
Yeah,
villi, the villi,
Exactly, that's
you,
what I was
you
trying to
can't tell me that your villi is all healthy and great and wonderful
Right.
on an American
Exactly.
diet. It just
everyone's got
doesn't-
something going on.
Everyone does,
And
whether
the,
they
and
know
the
it or
third human
not.
clinical wasn't done on all.
No.
So that was healthy individuals.
Yeah.
So we kind of took it from both sides, where we have the diseased population and then the healthy population, and the benefits were pretty much the same across the board.
Oh, this is genius. You guys are going to send me those white papers, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Yeah, Michael was very excited about that.
Yeah, I'm excited about
Yeah,
that.
I mean, because we talked about AstraGin for such a long time, just on increasing absorption and bioavailability, and we always said it was because of increasing the activity level of those transporter genes. But now we're thinking more so it's because it repairs the intestinal lumen and basically
repairs it.
provides like a better like host environment for for your gut.
More
in general.
receptors.
Right.
There's
Exactly.
there's more electricity and activity going on in your body.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
always said, it's bringing more trucks to bring the cargo into the warehouse, but it's not just that. It's we opened up the warehouse delivery doors. We patched up the buildings, made it nicer. Then the delivery
Got a new
trucks came.
roof.
Yes.
Yeah.
Genius. I've only got a couple minutes
No
left. I
worries.
definitely want to get into something you mentioned right now with we've all been mentioning AstraGin and increasing absorption, right? Like building that new house, putting new foundation. What about gym aids? We're moving from sports nutrition to really using that gym aids because we want to support everybody, every size, every age. Can you give me a minute on how it increases, let's say absorption of a pre-workout or a protein, etc.
Yeah, I think when we first got AstraGin, probably back in 2012, it kind of took hold in the sports nutrition space. So we've devoted probably the first 10 years all to those gym aid products. We've studied AstraGin for creatine, for beta-alanine, for omega-3 fatty acids, protein, leucine. So we have studies based on every main ingredient that you would see in like a pre-workout, a protein powder.
And it increased the absorption of that?
Yeah, all great increases.
I will take anything that will increase beta-alanine absorption.
Yes. Yeah, there's definitely a big difference. So we've studied all the key pillars, and the last two human clinicals, we looked at L-arginine twice and L-leucine. And then our founder, Michael, just kind of let us know he got approved a full protein study absorption. So we're going to look at every single amino acid possible,
Nice.
as well as like the whey protein, if there's going to be a benefit there. So
And plant protein with
And plant protein?
Yeah.
Genius. So we've just applied it across women's health, gut health, and a gym aid.
Yeah.
AstraGin is killer.
We did curcumin, basically everything. There's so much stuff we kind of forget to mention it sometimes.
Yeah, we could talk for another hour on.
Yeah,
if you guys
yeah.
are-
AstraGin's a lot.
you know.
We could talk for everyone. Yeah.
Well, we can't talk forever. We do have to wrap it up. But and just let our audience know. I know they can reach out to Leaf to have you in our products. But how do they find you? How do they find your studies, your Instagram, your iTunes, etc.?
Oh, well, our website's nulivscience.com. You see a lot of our data there, request more of the studies. I think we are very heavy on marketing, not just our product or technology, but we like to show how it's showcased in the marketplace. It's in this product. This product is very cool.
Yeah, your Instagram's really cool. And that's NuLiv, NuLiv.
Yeah. So that's something we're trying to keep pushing. Is make it in a fun way, make the science more approachable, make the brands understand that, oh wait, these guys want to run with me. They don't want to sell me a branded ingredient and like, yeah, we got that brand to use it. These guys are going to run with me. They're going to talk about it. We'll do trade shows with the brands, be at the actual booth, and
you guys are involved.
give out yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
we do everything we can. I think our job is to be the biggest cheerleader for our clients. So if we got to go visit them, if we are giving out their products, we're shooting content for them, that's what we're going to do.
Yeah, and you guys do. What's your Instagram handle?
I think it's just
NuLiv?
NuLiv
NuLiv Science.
At NuLiv. I don't think it's dot anymore. I think that was the old.
No,
at
it's
NuLiv
Science.
Okay, yeah. You're
Same thing with YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, everything.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you.
Yeah, it was a lot of
course.
That
fun.
was awesome.
Yes.
Well, we're going to have to do it again because there's other topics I want to cover.
Yeah.
But
Yes.
thank you for being here, guys.
Of course. Thank you for having us.
And thanks for watching Beyond the Steps.